The Bud Light issue was simply operating within a bubble within an echo chamber, and that we weren't changing minds. Eventually the noise would dissipate and the world would simply move on from this. Republican conspiracy theory, that's what they claim, or at least that was part of their copium argument. Well, it wasn't simply noise in an echo chamber like I've been reporting, like we've been seeing. It's been a damn shockwave and it's producing real results, folks. The argument that we're not changing minds ends right here, because we're literally changing minds. In fact, it seems as though Joe Rogan is on the boycott bandwagon. It's funny because when the boycott started, Joe Rogan came out in defense of Bud Light, or at least kind of, not taking the whole thing seriously. I'm sure you guys remember this clip that had leftoids cheering the things like about this dilemma of anything. It's like, why, if something is good, do you give? Who's got it? Like, would we do this with cheesecake? I get what they're doing, though they're trying to get people that are popular. They're just looking for influencers to help them. They're trying to look more inclusive because of the assumptions people make about Bud Light drinkers. If you saw the Bud Light demographics, of who's drinking Bud Light bigots. It's funny what people get like super outraged about, like we're in the middle of the Restrict Act, like no one's freaking out about that, but they're freaking out about Bud Light. Like how is that the big deal? Initially Joe Rogan thought the whole thing was stupid, but like most of these cases, once people actually start to delve into the details, as we expose the actual information, the deeper narrative, I guess we could call it, well, that's when people start to take the red pill. That's what's happening with Joe Rogan. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright, folks, so you saw the initial Joe Rogan clip. Now take a look at this one. Target lost billions of dollars because they tried to have this pride selection. Oh, yeah, gay mannequin. Yeah, they had all these like pride children's shirts and gay children. Yeah, and then obviously the Bud Light thing with Dylan Mulvaney. They've lost $20+ billion. You imagine you just gonna send a can to some fused person that a day 365 a womanhood, and you send that person a can with their face on, and your company loses $20 billion. That is wild, man. So we're seeing that now. Well, we never saw that before, where people are going, enough, right, enough. Stop shoving this down everybody's throat. When I go to Target, I don't want to see like, tuck pants where you like, they're designed to help you tuck your dick. Like, hey, that's not normal, and I don't want that right in front of everybody. Joe Rogan went from he doesn't care and the whole thing's unserious to stop shoving this crap down our throats, and that is the exact terminology that we have been using, because that's exactly what it is. It's an onslaught, it's nonstop, it's hardcore propaganda, and obviously people are just getting sick and tired of it. The left likes to craft this narrative that is just bigoted people who hate particular groups. It's just a big hate campaign, but really it's a leave me alone campaign, and more importantly, leave my children alone. It'd be nice to start the summer without woke propaganda plastered everywhere, shoved in my face every time I open the TV, every time I walk outside, every time I open a website, anytime I do anything. Nonstop aggressive propaganda campaign. But that alone, I mean, we've been able to endure. It's gone too far this time, because the aspect of shoving this adult topic propaganda in your face has turned into shoving the propaganda into your children's face, and at that point it's pretty much game over. Look, when the left starts losing leftist allies, it's game over. I know leftist activists and leftist journalists love to claim that Joe Rogan's a conservative, but Joe Rogan is a leftist. I mean, he's a literal quasi-socialist. He's closer to Bernie Sanders than Donald Trump. That's a fact, and he stated it multiple times. When the left is losing Joe Rogan, you know that they've gone completely insane. On the left is losing Bill Maher, they've gone insane. When the left is losing Anna Kasparian, well, then they've gone really insane. It is game over for the woke propagandists. I don't know what company is gonna take a Bud Light-sized risk ever again. It has been a complete and utter disaster. Let's shift gears a little bit here. I'm sure you enjoyed the Joe Rogan clips, but let's continue to do an update on where the boycott stands, at least for Bud Light and later for Target. I've been saying it for the last month or so. I'm not exactly sure the structure of Bud Light fiscal year when it starts, and when it ends, what I do know is that their first earnings report released on May 13th, if I'm not mistaken, May 13th or 14, something like that. That was the first quarter report, which didn't really show any of the losses, and I've been saying, hey, the second quarter report, it's a publicly traded company. Their financial statements are going to show us everything that transpired after April 1st, or actually even late March. That was a March Madness campaign, everything that transpired after their marketing decision to partner with individual who shall not be named, while all those losses are going to show up in numbers in those fiscal reports for all investors and the public to see. And I've been saying that's going to be the final nail in the damn coffin. Well, apparently, I'm not the only one saying it is now. Fortune magazine is reporting Bud Light only has a few months to prevent sustained market share loss. Warren's former Anheuser sales executive Bud Light needs to come up with a Kogan strategy to win back customers in the next few months, a former executive warned, or its market share losses could become permanent come September. Retailers are expected to begin reallocating the limited shelf space by relying on sales data from the preceding months. In Bud Light's case, that could mean a diminished presence going forward, following the controversy over its brief partnership with a person who shall not be named, according to Hanson Free Rex, president of sales and distribution at Budweiser's U.S. parent company, Anheuser-Busch, until his departure in April of 2022. He told the Daily Mail that rivals like Coors Light and Yuengling could then remain a more prominent fixture in stores following this reset. Those brands will have a better likelihood to succeed long term because they have more shelf space, they have more inventory, they have more back stock, and they have more availability for consumers. This builds on what I've been saying. It's all about the numbers, it's all about the core business. This is why companies should probably do themselves a favor and stick to the damn business instead of this woke crap. Once those quarterly or yearly numbers are cemented, not only is the stock going to absolutely tank through the ground, meaning less investment and less capital, but then the company has to kind of accept that they've been downgraded by U.S. consumers and that demand is simply not there anymore. Sales is not there. If Bud Light is selling, let's say, 10 million cans a month, it's a purely hypothetical number, but then all of a sudden they're selling 6.5 million and those losses are sustained, and for the next production cycle they're not going to start producing 15 million cans a month, or 10 or 12 or 13 projecting growth. They're going to reduce their production to meet demand. Otherwise, they're literally burning money as they're burning right now. They're not going to make the situation worse. Clearly that's not going to happen. Not to mention the other aspect, Bud Light works with major retailers. Major retailers are the ones buying products. You have buyers at these big brands